We start now. Senior member of the New Patriotic Party and cardiothoracic surgeon, Professor Frimpong-Boateng, says he will not be pressured into leaving a party he considers central to his political journey. Speaking on Ekosi saying on Asempa FM on Tuesday, the former Minister for Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation was responding to reports that the party's National Executive Committee is considering disciplinary action against him following comments in which he questioned the authenticity of the current party structure. Professor Frimpong-Boateng rejected suggestions that he should resign to avoid a possible expulsion, maintaining that he remains committed to the party.
Statement from General Secretary, but General Secretary, but what I'm saying is I'm just waiting for official communications from them.
Yeah, because I say in the statement, I say Obe refer to NEC. And the NEC would have to take a decision on you, but we're invoking the constitutional provision for expelling a party member from the party into what started to move the UFP party. But was a NEC, it may approve our decision. No?
Okay. I'm just the West. I mean, so a lawyer also here. I don't know when he completed law school. Maybe a lawyer was teaching, will be a school. Now, for this man to say, Obia Bomipa and America the American, I am very sad. I've been very consistent. Sir, Omopa, and Yama Matria on the party, for the years, over the years, we didn't know about Bantino Biaka, and we said, I've been very consistent, very concerned. So, party and Kofa Brown, Samo Brantia, Fieka Diasha, so what I'm saying is that faction, or so the General Secretary, that's a fake thing. Now they should quit. They should quit, and then the real party will stand.
He further argued that responsibility for the party's current challenges lies with its leadership, suggesting that those in charge should rather reflect on their own roles and accountability.
What I'm saying is, I mean, so a lawyer also here. I don't know when he completed law school, maybe a lawyer was teaching will school. Now, for this man to say, Obia Bomipa and America the American, I am very sad. I've been very consistent. Sir, Party and Kofa Brown, Samo Brantia, Fieka Diasha, so what I'm saying is that faction, or so General Secretary, that's a fake thing. Now they should quit, and then the real party will start. He is fake because they won't fake. He's not a mature General Secretary. How can you a program that ends at 10 p.m. and then before morning, you issue a statement? They can issue any statement that they want. I will not miss them. Yeah, I don't care what they do. Destroying the party, and somebody must stand up for that. Abuse of power, corruption, arrogance, and the party could not stand up to anybody. I'm a party now, teacher, Pansampe. You will be free. So how with them? One just to the team comforter, even the electoral register, there are irregularities. I mean, people are still not happy with them. Yeah, also, you want to expel me from the party, I don't care. I will not miss them at all. And they are the fake ones. Almost free party, executive. NPP, NPP, say, but yeah, elections are. They study free polling station, near constituency, near region, near the national. Now, more than I didn't I'm a Flagbearer and Sana, yeah, that's not how the true NPP behaves. So, and you come on here, you lawyer for a person, so listen now, we know. Import the button point, Sabi, obey the General Secretary, no, so, Sapa, a branchiano. What you name a year in such a way, a painful now, and Mafia, and the Matita Pansam, the Council of Mianca.
Scientist Dr. Kwesi Frimpong-Boateng joins me via Zoom on this development. Grateful for your time, sir. Now, your initial thoughts on what you just heard.
Thanks for the opportunity, and let me say good morning to our viewers. Actually, we have a complex issue developing because Professor Frimpong-Boateng has come in a way to clarify, what he said at that time around. This time he zeroes in to the current leadership and their actions and inactions, something like that. He has every right to comment on. But then the previous characterization of the party as fake to me was problematic. But then given that he's now giving some clarity, then we look forward to what will be happening when he's invited to the NEC. And then I also get the understanding that the letter that the General Secretary put out, has some window, for compromise, given that he is initiating the processes for the expulsion of Professor Frimpong-Boateng. I think I see some room, some opportunity for the two to come out with some sort of understanding for the party to move on, because the NPP doesn't need anything like this at this material moment in time in the party's life.
Right. So how should political parties balance internal discipline with the freedom of expression, especially when criticism comes from senior members?
It is very unfortunate, actually, because the party's image need to be protected at all costs, and the principles, that keep the party going to should be upheld. Now you have a situation where the current leadership have simply decided to do their own thing. They started by giving a clear indication that they are supporting Dr. Bawumia to come up. They started with this thank you tour. It was a facade, the thank you tour. Dr. Bawumia's initial statements at the party's office before embarking on the thank you tour gave him away. He was campaigning for himself to be reinstated as the party's flag bearer. So the whole thing was flawed. And then they went into the Congress to reform, the party's constitution. And this development that has come out to be a top-down approach to the reform, and for that matter, to the restructuring of the party, electing the flag bearer first before all other people, is simply going to give us a situation where the flag bearer and the assigns of the flag bearer will influence the processes such that down the ladder, all the people that will appear will be people who will be beholden to them. It will amount to a party capture, and yet they are bent on doing that. In fact, they are in a way potentially leading the party into a position where things might come to a head. And these are some of the concerns that people like Professor Frimpong-Boateng has. But then he has also mixed it with his personal challenges, his personal anger with what happened to him when he was in office. And instead of addressing the specific issue of, if you like, what I call the flawed reforms, he decided to pick on the whole party as a body. That one is unacceptable. And so parties will have to be strong and tough in ensuring that its internal democracy is respected. Freedom of speech should not mean that you can say anything at all that will bring the party's image into disrepute. There's a need to balance the two. So NPP, once again, is at a crossroad. We look forward to what they want to do to ensure that sanity prevails. But they don't need an expulsion of any member of the party now.
Well, what does this public disagreement say about the strengths of internal democratic institutions within Ghana's political parties more broadly?
Generally speaking, the problem we have is that of constitutionalism. We have constitutions, but we don't work with it. We do our own thing, we put the constitutions aside and do our own thing. So when people feel aggrieved, they simply don't have the practice, the culture of working with the constitution. They go out and do things the way they want. And that is because the leadership of the party themselves don't play according to the rules of the game. They don't play by the constitution. So that is the general challenge. In simple terms, the leaders themselves should be disciplined around the principles in their own constitution. Right. It is only through that that they can get the rank and file to follow suit. I think they will want to come back and work with their constitutions.
Okay. Now, how might this internal conflict affect the party's public image? also voter confidence ahead of future elections?
The party is hitting at itself. The party has been in, the NPP has been in this crisis for far too long, simply because the current leadership themselves have become interested actors. They are doing a lot of damage to their own image. The party is still sinking. They are not helping themselves to address the challenge they are in. The best way out is that they should be apolitical in their actions and inactions and stick to their constitutions, especially in the management of the impending elections. That is another opportunity that they have to rescue themselves and to rescue the party and to have some confidence that the party works by its constitution. And as a member, you will not be, if you like, held hostage. You will not be you'll not be made to become, if you like, a scapegoat or to lose out on any flimsy issue, that you'll be protected by the party.
Right.
They failed to do that when some time ago, Nanado, when he had become the party's flag bearer, chased out the party chair, Mr. Paul Afoko, and the party's general secretary of the day, Mr. Kwabena Japon. He really flouted the party's own constitution. They all kept quiet. And I'm surprised that Mr. Frimpong-Boateng didn't see it even from that time and decided to work in Nanado's government. Because if he is looking at this word fake, because of unconstitutional behavior of the leadership, it started from that time.
Right.
He should have taken cognizance of what happened at that time and decided not to participate in Nanado's government. He should have done that from that early time. The party is still in that same situation. They are not moving out of that posture. So they have come around Dr. Bawumia because their faith, their personal interests are tied to the fortunes of Dr. Bawumia.
Right.
They have been with Nanado, they have been continuing, they are doing the same thing. So Frimpong-Boateng's action might help them to take a second look, a deep, if you like, introspection, and come to terms with the fact that indeed they are doing their own party a lot of harm, terrible harm.
So are criticisms from respected party elders such as Professor Frimpong-Boateng even more damaging to party cohesion than grassroots dissent? If so, why?
It's terribly damaging, and that is why it's very unfortunate. But I get the impression that he thinks there was no opportunity to vent out such frustrations that he had. I like to believe that he didn't see any opportunity because the individuals we want to refer to as the leadership are all, they've come together, they've made up their mind, and they are doing what they are doing, misleading the party, which might obviously crash because of the potential breaking up of the party after the elections we are looking forward to. If they don't stay away, they don't personally stay away and don't allow the principles of elections to guide what unfolds on the 31st of January, so that the key participants will know that they went into a free and fair elections, they win, they lose, and that they lost, credibly, that nobody affected the system in any way, and so they will all rather rally around the winner. It is only a free and fair election that will deliver that particular outcome. If they don't go in for that, the party will, be plunged into a deeper hole than it is now.
Right, and in your view, what mechanisms should political parties adopt to manage internal disagreements, really without escalating them into public crisis?
I like to believe that it's the same constitutionalism thing that I spoke to initially. When you allow the constitutions to mediate, that is why we refer to it as a framework within which politics unfold. It establishes the desired behavior, establishes the behavior that will be frowned upon. It brings out rewards and punishment. And so people, with time, they might not necessarily have to take the constitution and study it, but with time they will come to terms with what works in the party and what doesn't work. But it is the work of the leadership that will eventually, get down to the rank and file. They should let constitutionalism prevail in the party.
Doc, the former Defense Minister Dominic Nettles says the NPP cannot afford to gamble with the first-time presidential candidate in the 2028 elections, warning that another defeat would be disastrous for the party. Let's listen to him, and I would like to hear your thoughts on it.
Mills. And we in the NPP still think that that election was rigged, was stolen. And that's why we went to court. Otherwise, why did we go to court?
Lost.
We lost. But I'm just telling you that if I come here and come and say,
Mama won for the first time.
I'm saying to you, if I come here and come and tell the people of Ghana, Mama won for the first time, then why did we waste the people of Ghana's time to go to court?
Yeah, you lost the court too.
We lost in court. I accept it. Like we said, we accept it.
Both are the poor.
We don't agree, but we accept it. I'll sit here and still tell you the same thing. We don't agree with that assertion, but we accept it because the court has ruled. When Mahama truly went on his own steam, okay, in 2016, he lost badly. 2020, he lost. It was the third time that he came. It will be very difficult for me to make a case for a new candidate for the NPP, knowing that that is the way the people of Ghana think. They will assess you first as a presidential candidate before they give you the opportunity. Very difficult for them to give you the opportunity, especially after that stolen election, and Mahama failed badly, and they sent him home to go and learn his lessons. And they did it 3 times before he won. And so it's very risky.
Since you're talking about competence, let's talk about that. He was a chair of the economic management team that inflicted unprecedented hardship on the Ghanaian people. Where's the argument about competence that is unreasonable?
Sometimes when we say these things, and then it comes to the another leg and we say a different thing, I wonder. Today, everybody says it tries to give the credit to the president and the finance minister. Why don't they mention the vice president's name?
So, Doc, what does Dominic Nettles' warning against a first-time presidential candidate reveal about the NPP's internal thinking and post-election anxiety ahead of 2028?
This is the understanding that some of the supporters of Dr. Bawumia want Ghanaians to, come to terms with that. If you like, there is a pattern, some sort of tradition in Ghanaian politics. You go for the first time, possibly the second time you win, or in another's case, he had a third, a time opportunity, and it is a case they make in their own party in an attempt to sway, if you like, the votes of the electoral college. The issue as to whether this will fit the bigger Ghanaian context is what, if you like, one will want to examine. I don't think it will do, because over there, he's simply focusing rigidly on the person of the presidential candidate. He's taking out economic conditions in the country. He's taking out conditions of life that people find themselves in. He's taking out the issue of governance and how it affects people. And if people believe that something good is happening, like currently it is, and indeed something good is happening now, President Mahama is working miracles, at least with the economy. And we're looking forward to things getting better, such that it will translate into the life of ordinary people. That being the case, I'm saying that the NDC will come out as a very credible political organization who Ghanaians will want to work with as a party that has the potential to take Ghana out of its economic, challenges. So the focus will then leave the person of the flag bearer. The NDC will become a machinery, a party that has got, if you like, strategies. One, to discipline its own appointees. Because when you speak of this issue of, discipline in the management of the economy, it in a way refers to making sure that your appointees simply don't have their own way with Ghana's finances. So if the party is able to do that, it will move away from President Mahama, and it will stay in the party, and the party stands to win subsequent elections. So our friend's former minister's case is a case they make in the NPP. I don't think it will stand the test of time when they take it out of that organization.
Right. Very grateful for your time, Dr. Kwesi Boateng. He's a political scientist at the University of KNUST. Now, we can hear from Dr. Nyahonya Otamaklo, a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, who has slammed the party's decision to pursue the expulsion of former Environment, Science and Innovation Minister Professor Frimpong-Boateng, describing the move as misguided and out of touch with grassroots realities.
What the party should have done is to invite him for a chat. But the way the girls was strict, that the leadership of the party knew, if we are not careful, will disperse the party members. A party that has just come out of elections where we have failed somebody across the nation. You don't see members that are standing members like that. Indeed, what we should have done right from the word go, and I said it on television, we should have organized the grassroots, let them know where our mistakes were, and then rebuild the party. You know, there are a lot of people who have similar views, just like Frimpong-Boateng has got in the party.
But the New Patriotic Party insists it has acted inappropriately. Deputy General Secretary Haina Mohammed argues the comments amounts to conduct unbecoming of a member and are inimical to its values, unity and integrity. He spoke on the polls.
When water runs into the forest, definitely some of the trees will come down. He's not interested. So there's no need in the drive towards unity, persons who want to stand on the walls or on the benches or the trenches and want to speak ill about the party should be pleaded on that particular boat. He just spoke his mind yesterday. How do you go to tell him? Look at what he said. The party's constitution is clear. You cannot misconduct yourself and put the party name into disrepute. How do you describe the party as fake? This is unacceptable. You cannot do that. And upon that, you said you no longer consider yourself. So if you don't no longer consider yourself as a member of the party needs numbers, but we need positive numbers, not negative numbers. He has served the period he wants to serve, and he doesn't want to be there. We'll grant him that wish.
Well, moving on, the DVLA says it will release 2026 DV plates from Monday while processes continue towards the rollout of the new vehicle registration regime. This is after the authority postponed the rollout of its new digital RFID number plates, following legal challenges and incomplete legislative approvals. Meanwhile, discussions continue on how to progress, including the possibility of issuing licenses to citizens living abroad. Michelle Latte reports.
Beginning Monday, the 2026 DV number plates will start rolling out, marking a step forward as the DVLA awaits parliamentary approval for the full implementation of the RFID-enabled vehicle registration system. Addressing a press conference, the Director of Driver Training, Testing and Licensing at the DVLA, Kafui Semefo, said the plates will continue to use the old registration format even as preparations advance for the new system. According to him, the plates will be issued exclusively to fleet dealers and not to individual vehicle owners.
We announced before the beginning of this year that there is some grace period. However, we also said that because the process to amend the law is not completed, the old law is still in existence, we asked for some grace period. We are releasing the DV plates by Monday. We have gone ahead to continue with the old format of registration, so those who want to register are actually registering. So we have not deprive the public the opportunity to use their vehicles or to register.
The DVLA also urged vehicle owners to take part in the ongoing nationwide onboarding exercise as the authority prepares to introduce the new vehicle registration system. It warned that from 2027 onward, vehicles that have not been onboarded and pre-registered will not be permitted to operate on the road.
Now, when we start the new number plate, is going to run up to the end of 2027, when we are expecting to have roll on everybody into the new system. So if beyond 2027 you've not done onboarding and re-registered your vehicle, then you cannot be on the roads. So we are encouraging you. For now, we don't have a deadline for onboarding. It's an ongoing process. We are encouraging everybody to take advantage of our offices and then visit the office and get your vehicle onboarded.
Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of DVLA, Julius Nikwe Kote, disclosed that the authority has received clearance from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to undertake the issuance of licenses in 5 countries.
Just yesterday, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa, signed for the DVLA to undertake these projects in 5 countries. These are the countries. We have the United States of America, United Kingdom, we have Canada, Germany, and Netherlands. So these 5 countries will witness DVLA's presence. So I will do license issues over there for them.
The DVLA says these measures form part of efforts to modernize vehicle registration, strengthen road safety, and streamline operations. For JoyNews, Michelle Lati.
Meanwhile, many drivers and vehicle owners remain confused about the onboarding process. They're asking how to register, when to expect their new plates, and whether they need to visit DVLA offices in person. We put these questions to the authority, seeking clarity on timelines, requirements, and how they plan to support drivers through the transition to the new digital system. And we speak to DVLA's Corporate Affairs Director, Steve Etu, for more on this. Grateful for your time, Mr. Etu, on NewsDesk. First, what is the status of the onboarding program?
All right, thank you very much, and a good morning to our listeners. The onboarding program is an ongoing program that the authority had deployed some 2 years ago. So because we have over 3 million vehicles registered in the system, we think that it is important that we keep the public informed of the need to go ahead with the onboarding. So what we are doing is to provide some sensitization to the general public to know that this opportunity exists for them to convert their manual registration onto digital registration app. And by the conclusion of the vehicle could walk through the entire vehicle, and then the vehicle registration card will be a digital, which could
Is it true? I'm losing you. Could you please reposition yourself so we can hear clearly?
All right. So what I'm saying is that what we thought to do is just stand up on the to pick up with the form of their vehicle and convert manual registration into digital. So anybody who goes the onboarding process would work a time certificate and it these are actually the unique and that requires your contact, because you would not need work immediately to try same kind of issues that once you have is a claim that just like any other.
Yeah. Let's try this once again. What is expected of vehicle owners? Are they to pay for the process, please, so that we can hear you clearly? If you could reposition yourself so that you answer.
Okay, so what we are looking for vehicle owners is that we are not tagged for the service that it provides on board. However, in the process on board, first we start and we need to send the activity of the vehicle. The process requires that you come to Ghana, and in order to send that we have go to the club to verify NI so that we do the pay. And that verification exercise requires a marginal payment of 25 NOC. And that is the cost involved in it. So the cost determined of 25 is just for that particular purpose and not for any other service that DVLA provides for the onboarding process. we already have the data of every vehicle owner. But then for those that are manual, we think that we are moving towards a digital system. And so we need the individuals to just come through the process again. Then you get onboarded. In that process, because we need you, you have to come in person, you have to bring the vehicle, you have to bring your Ghana card, you have to present the custom document, which usually is a declaration form from customs. And then with all these documents with you, once we have confirmed everything in your identity, then we'll go ahead and onboard you. And then you walk away being proud that your details have been captured. You walk out with your charter certificate and walk out with your vehicle registration card.
So the concern is if there's already available information, manually, why don't you just migrate that into your system instead of people having to come all the way to your office to do that?
So the point I raised that we have data that dates back a vehicle registered with a suffix A. There's 100% chance also that that vehicle owner may have done a transfer that DVLA was not notified. So if you sell a car and you don't come officially to do a transfer of ownership in that vehicle, a new person may be in possession of the vehicle, but the details in the system will still show that the original owner who registered the vehicle is the one in possession of the vehicle. We can't sit in our office and make a determination to this. There are instances also where somebody may have even attempted to change ownership in the vehicle is still owned. So this process helps us to clean the data and keep an accurate record of vehicles in Ghana, because that is what the law mandates us to do. And we think that this exercise will afford us the opportunity to clean the data, migrate, and be sure that indeed we have access to data that we can easily rely upon, is easily retrievable, and whenever there is a need for law enforcement to have access and to trace, for instance, a vehicle has been stolen from you, that becomes a bit easy to pull out the data quickly so that we can deal with such instances for you. So we have the data, the manual data, but in order to convert it digitally, we need the presence of the individual to be able to confirm all the identity and then do that for you.
We also understand you have the green light to issue licenses to Ghanaians outside the country. In which format is this going to, take place?
Okay, so currently, a Ghanaian who is a license holder in Ghana, who is traveling outside of the country, the law mandates us to give that person what we call an international driver permit. And this permit is usually renewable once every year. And because we take the biometric details of the individual, the presence of the person is required back in Ghana again before the renewal is done. So we have looked at the volume of requests by Ghanaians who are traveling outside of the country, and then the need for that renewal process. And we felt that one of beginning a process where we can engage with the Foreign Affairs Minister to find places that are easily accessible by Ghanaians, at least as a pilot, so that we can now have DVLA services stationed at those places for Ghanaians so that they can at least travel to those places and then get the license, the international driver permit given to them so that at least that burden of having to come down to Ghana would have been taken off. That's the discussion that led to us getting 5 countries approved for us, as you rightly stated in your story: United Kingdom, US, Canada, Germany, and the Netherlands. So these are 5 countries that will start with this process. And discussions are far advanced, and in due course, DVLA will deploy so that we can be in these areas to provide service for Ghanaians who live in those countries.
Also, the DV plates to be issued on Monday. What happens on Monday? What do drivers do?
Okay. So what happens is that, in fact, as part of the new regime, if we get the approval in terms of the amendment we see in our LI 2180, the DV regime would change totally. We are not going to have DVs handed over to individuals. DVs would only be restricted to car dealers and those who deal within that ecosystem. But because we have not been able to migrate and start with a new registration system, the existing regime of DV would be deployed on Monday. So what it means is that the DVs will be available at DVLA offices for access by the Ghanaian public, those who want to acquire the DV plate. But the point again that we need to emphasize is that we are not suspending registration of vehicles. The 2026 suffix registration of vehicles is currently ongoing. And at my last check on Monday, we've done over 10,000 such transactions across the country. So the opportunity is there for every Ghanaian to still walk in and register your vehicle through the normal process as we have. Then when we roll out the new licensing regime, we just take you through the process and then we change the number plate for you. So the DV will be available for those who, for one reason or the other, may not be able to register their cars immediately, to start accessing them from DVLA offices on Monday. But then that is not to say that if you have a vehicle and you want to register and have a 2026 suffix, you cannot do that. You can walk to a DVLA office and do that.
So is this not a matter of just migrating the information of those who register now when you release their RFID plates?
So
do they still have to come to the offices?
Registration process is this. It's a completely new license plate we are bringing. Some individuals have already even done the onboarding for some time now. Like I said, that we started about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, the RFID is more like having a mobile phone number on a SIM card. That connection process, that gets your details onto the card details, is what the RFID seeks to do. And so, like we said, what about those who may not even have been able to come through DVLA yet to do the onboarding? How do you access that data? So we need to take all of these things into the discussion so that we know that, look, appearance, and we are not saying that immediately the license plates are rolled out, rush to DVLA office and come and register your car. We'll have ample time that will schedule people, and there will be a platform that will be available for appointment basis so that you come at your free time, at your convenience, just as we are advocating for the onboarding to be done at your convenience. So that we'll take you through that process, we'll change your number plate for you, and then you walk away.
All right. Thank you very much, Stephen Itu, Corporate Affairs Director for the DVLA. Now, the Energy Ministry is disputing claims that the Electricity Company of Ghana and the Northern Electricity Distribution Company are being privatized, clarifying that the government only intends to open limited aspects of their operations to private sector participation. The ministry spokesperson Richmond Roxon says, contrary to assertions by the Trades Union Congress and the Public Utility Workers Union of Ghana, government is ready to engage the leadership of the group on the proposed private participation framework. The comments follow calls by the TUC and pull for a suspension of any private sector involvement in ECG and NEDCO operations. The unions argue that the performance of NEDCO show the utilities can be turned around without privatization if workers are adequately supported and management is held to clear, enforceable targets. My colleague Collins Frimpong has more in this report.
Solidarity forever for the youth. At a press conference at the Trade Union Congress, TUC General Secretary Joshua Ansah said ECG's average monthly revenue has surged from about 900 million Ghana cedis to nearly 1.7 billion Ghana cedis, a rise of almost 90% in just 6 months. He added that NEDCO has also cut its losses by around 8%, despite most of its customers being on lifeline tariffs, showing that the utilities can be successfully turned around without private sector participation.
Following extensive tripartite engagements involving the Public Utility Workers Union, who representing staff of ECG, management of ECG, and the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, a 6-month turnaround program was agreed upon and implemented from July to December 2025. The result of the turnaround program has been phenomenal. Verified performance data from this turnaround program indicate that ECG's average monthly revenue collection increased from approximately 900 million Ghana cedis to a record of 1.75 billion. Now, the turnaround program by NEDCO. The Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NEDCO, has faced significant challenges related to high distribution losses and inadequate revenue collection over the years. the northern area, particularly Tamale Township, records exceptionally high distribution losses, averaging about 46%. In the last 1 year, this exceptionally high distribution losses have been slashed from 47.32% in November 2024 to 39% in November 2025.
The unions noted that these gains have already brought significant sector-wide benefits, including more regular payment to power producers and improved stability in electricity supply, reducing the repeated threats by independent power producers to shut down plants over debts.
This remarkable improvement in revenue collection has ensured that power generators are now paid regularly, avoiding instances where independent power producers threaten or actually shut down their production plants in projects of unpaid arrears for the benefit of Ghanaians.
Calling for an immediate halt to all privatization plans, the TUC and POO urged an extension of the current turnaround program with clearer deliverables for management and stronger oversight from state regulators.
The 6 months management union turnaround program must be extended and reviewed comprehensively to determine additional measures needed to scale and sustain the success made so far. Thank you. 2, while the review of the turnaround program is underway, we urge government to halt all actions toward privatization of ECG and NETCO. 3, in keeping with TUC's long-standing opposition to privatization of state-owned enterprises, we propose the following additional measures. A stakeholder board for ECG and NETCO that brings the insight and expertise of the major think tanks and social groups, including labor, and this will provide the necessary checks and balances for efficiency. B, the MDs of ECG and NETCO should be given clear deliverables and be held to straight account on those deliverables.
Reporting for JoyNews, I am Collins Frimpong.
We can now hear from spokesperson for the Energy Ministry, Richmond Roxon, who says government does not intend to privatize ECG and NETCO as asserted by TUC and POO.
Government does not intend to sell ECG. The government does not intend to privatize ECG. And I don't want to believe it's a deliberate attempt to push that narrative out there. Because what Cabinet approved last year, April, was that we're going to have private sector participation in some aspect of ECG's operations, and that is what has been. And so any attempt to deliberately mislead the public or misrepresent facts will not be fair and will be in bad faith. The Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, which has been at the heart of the discussions with POO and TUC, has always been very, very accommodating and has always been engaging. If you ask POO themselves, at every point in time, the ministry has engaged them on the processes, on this PSP process.
You're still watching JoyNews Desk. We take a break. We return with business.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching JoyNews Desk, and of course, it's time for business. I am Michelle Ejekum. Now let's settle for our stories. Now, Jubilee Field ended 2025 with an average daily production of about 59,000. Now, this update was captured in Cosmos Energy's operational updates for last year. We have the details in the following report.
An average daily production of about 60,000 barrels from the Jubilee Field after 11 years of production may not be good enough. However, players on the field are upbeat about production picking up strongly in the coming month. This is due to the fact that some new oil wells have come on board. Initial estimates project that daily production could reach 70,000 barrels well before the end of the year. The partners on the Jubilee field are also putting in place other measures that will help production improve significantly by the end of the year. Key among them is the Plan of Development Agreement, which is currently awaiting Parliament approval. Some of these partners believe it could also help in attracting fresh and significant investment into Ghana's oil sector.
Away from that, dollar demand from businesses has picked up sharply in recent days. Now, this is reflected in stronger bids submitted by banks at the spot foreign exchange auctions, signaling increased pressure on the local currency. There's more in the following report.
For some market watchers, this was expected. The development has been influenced by the fact that most businesses are trying to demand more dollars to finance their imports as they move to restock for the rest of the year. This has resulted in some marginal pressure on the Ghana cedi, which has ended up with some movement, especially on the rates that the commercial banks are quoting. We should also not forget that when the listed companies and some banks start with a dividend payment, we could also witness another round of pressure on the Ghana cedi. For instance, while some $125 million were offered during last Thursday's dollar auction, the bids that came through were more than $300 million. Well, for some, another reason why we are witnessing this is that supply on the market hasn't been that significant in line with demand. But the Bank of Ghana is insisting that there is no need for anyone to panic. This is because they have adequate forex to meet the need of any genuine trades on the market, with reserves reaching almost $14 billion ending last month. They also believe that based on a lot of reforms that has been implemented over the past months, we may not be saddled with that huge depreciation experienced in every first quarter of each year. Last year, the Bank of Ghana spent some $10 billion to meet market liquidity in what has been described as forex intermediation.
Now, moving on, the World Bank is projecting global growth to edge down to 2.6% in 2026 as several supportive factors fade. In particular, trade growth is set to weaken as firms scale back inventory accumulation and tariff effects intensify. Here is more.
With January 2026 global economic prospects, the World Bank says near-term risks to the global economy remain tilted to the downside. The bank warns that global growth could weaken if trade tensions escalate further, financial market sentiment deteriorates, or inflation and fiscal pressures trigger asset price declines. However, it notes that expanded artificial intelligence activity and firms adapting to new trade conditions could provide some upside support. Despite these risks, the World Bank says the global economy has shown notable resilience to rising trade tensions and policy uncertainty. Last year, stockpiling of goods, strong investor risk appetite, increased AI spending, and more adaptable supply chains helped sustain growth. This faster-than-expected expansion capped a 5-year global recovery from the 2020 recession, the strongest in over 6 decades, though the bank cautions that recovery remains uneven. While nearly 90% of advanced economies have surpassed pre-pandemic income levels, more than a quarter of emerging market and developing economies, especially low-income and fragile states, are still below 2019 levels. The World Bank is calling for global effort to improve trade conditions, ease financing constraints, and address climate risks, warning that without stronger reforms, many developing economies will struggle to create enough jobs for growing populations.
And that'll be all for business right here on JoyNews Desk. There's more business news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm Michelle Ejikun. Amiesi.
Thank you, Michelle. That's how we wrap up JoyNews Desk here on the JoyNews channel. I am Amiesi Nyamiche Thompson. There's more news on myjoyonline.com.